Good evening. This is the Board of Education meeting for which adequate notice under the Open Public Meetings Act was provided by written notice on May 7, 2019 to the Courier News, the Echo Sentinel, the Star Ledger, Tappan to Warren, and the clerks of the Borough of Watchung and the townships of Greenbrook, Long Hill, and Warren. You have a roll call, Mr. Stiles?
Ms. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Mizio? Mr. Fahey? Mr. Hayek?
Here.
Mr. Hunsinger? Mr. Martins?
Here.
Mr. Morrison?
Here.
Mrs. Ober?
Here.
Dr. Shabilsky? And Mr. Fallon.
Here, 6, we've got a quorum, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll now entertain a motion in accordance with the provision of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act. Be it hereby resolved that the board move into executive session to discuss confidential personnel matters, a legal matter, Gallic et al. Versus Watchung Hills Regional High School Board of Education et al., an HIV matter, and WHREA negotiations, after which action will be taken. It is expected that the matters discussed in executive session will be made public as soon as the need for confidentiality no longer exists.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good evening. Back in public session now. Under board correspondence, I'm first happy to be able to announce that the district got a letter from its attorney, insurance counsel appointed to defend the district in the Gallic against Watchung Hills Regional Board of Education et al. Matter, and Judge Goodside of the Superior Court in Somerville denied the plaintiff's request for a preliminary injunction and also granted the defendant's request to dismiss the action with prejudice. So that lawsuit is over and done unless the plaintiffs appeal from it, but it's a good result for the board and for the school district. Ms. Jewett, comments?
So I will keep my comments brief as we have our recognition this evening, which is this is one of my favorite meetings of the year. Thank you so much for coming out, especially since it's not so nice outside. So I'm very appreciative that everyone braved the weather to make it here. We also get to recognize our retirees, and I see some of their family members here, which is really nice. So we will be doing that as well. One thing I do want to mention, we had, as you are aware, one of our strategic plan goals centers upon social emotional learning and student and staff wellness. And this past Monday, we had a wellness luncheon for our staff where we talked about what our goals are going forward and what some of the practices that we would like to see continued. And it was the culmination of a year-long effort, certainly with regard to student wellness, but we also had added staff wellness into that. And our staff members who organized the luncheon and have been organizing the events throughout the year, I just want to acknowledge them. Patricia Tobin, one of our vice principals, Jill Gleason, one of our health and PE teachers, Marla Heath, part of our special ed department, Caitlin Brennan, another phys ed teacher, and Beth Scheiderman, our director of human resources and staff development. And actually, board members, you each have what the final surprise was for the staff, that you can grow your own marigold in there. So knock yourself out. And one other announcement, we will send out official notification of this, but just any of you who have graduating seniors, I'm sure have been watching the forecast for Friday, as Mr. Alexis and I have been doing as well. As you know, we moved graduation to the morning several years ago so that it would give us a little flexibility. For the past 5 years that I've been here, and I believe the year prior as well, we've been doing very well with avoiding the thunderstorms and the rain. So we will be watching the forecast closely, and we'll send out notification on Thursday, letting you know it will be kind of like a snow day call if we're going to adjust the time of graduation. Right now, it looks like the rain should be clear by the 10 a.m. graduation time. But if it looks like it's going to last a little longer, then we'll send notification out early Friday morning if we are going to have to move the time. But the plan is to have it out on Tozier Field because the day is supposed to be a beautiful day as of right now. So just so the board's aware of that and everyone else, but we will send out official notification of that. But that's another nice celebration for the end of the year. And I will turn it over now to the board president.
Good evening. I also want to thank all the parents and students and retirees and their families who've shown up. This is a special night for us to be able to honor the students who've accomplished so much. The board was fortunate at our last meeting to have a presentation by a number of students talking about a huge variety of things they've done and accomplished here at Watchung Hills in this past year, ranging from what's been done in robotics to a TEDx event, a LaunchX event, and so it's really amazing the learning that's going on here, and so getting a chance to honor some of the students is a treat for us as well. Mr. Stice, Business Administrator's comments?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Just one quick update, the Gym 7-8 locker room renovation project. Attended a meeting today, it's going very well. It's on schedule, so far pretty good with the budget. Haven't had a lot of issues. Looks like we're going to be done mid-August. For those who are here, we're renovating the boys and girls side of the locker room and also adding air conditioning, which is going to be terrific. Everybody knows how it gets warm in those gyms, so you're really going to like it. And it's going very well so far. They actually have everything demoed, and the framing is up in the locker rooms, and the pipes have been run for the air conditioning. So far so good. They've been working without disrupting any of the classes. They've been really good. So they're going to ramp it up now that the school's ending. And then the second thing, just I didn't want to steal the board president's and the superintendent's thunder on this one, but when I look at the retirees, like the first thing I always think of is, oh, I got some savings from breakage. But they're much more than that. They're very good people. I'm going to miss all of them. I'm going to really miss my good friend, Mr. McConnell over there. I know he's here. I can't say enough about him. I can't say enough about all of them. They're terrific people. But Terry, it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you.
So one recognition that I forgot earlier. So we do have our 3 student board reps that have been attending our meetings diligently all year long. 2 of them were not able to make it this evening, Kayla Park and Rebecca Bytel. They had some conflicts, but we do have Jed Ober. That's why it's nice that we have 3. And they've done a tremendous job. I really enjoyed getting to know all of them as students, as human beings, and they've really done a nice job of bringing their color to the board meetings. And so, Jed, I have something for Rebecca and Kayla, but since you're here, I just wanted to present you on behalf of the board and the administration just a little thank you for your work this year. So thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you very much. We're pleased to announce that Amay Mehta is the recipient of the 2019 Allergen Foundation Scholarship, which is given each year to the outstanding National Merit students. The community was invited to our Watchung Hills Regional High School annual Spring Arts Festival, May 29th through June 1st, which featured our students' artwork on display in the atrium and the arts wing. On May 29th, the evening started with the induction of 50 members into the National Arts Honor Society, followed by refreshments catered by the Culinary Club. The film department showed multiple student films in the South Auditorium, and in Room 94, a series of one-act plays were performed by the International Thespian Society to a packed room of patrons. On Friday, June 1st, the annual instrumental concert was held, featuring the symphonic band and wind ensemble performances in the pack. The Arts Festival concluded on June 6th with an unforgettable choral concert in the pack. There were outstanding performances from our chorus and advanced chorus students. The evening concluded with the orchestra joining the chorus students, alumni and teachers to an awe-inspiring performance of Beethoven's Ode to Joy. The performance ended with a standing ovation from the sold-out crowd. On June 11th, the PTO sponsored the senior breakfast before the senior awards ceremony at 9 a.m. in the pack. Parents of seniors being recognized were invited to the ceremony. The annual scholarship ceremony was held on June 11th at 6:30 p.m. in the PAC. We are grateful to the scholarship benefactors. The senior prom was held at the Hyatt Regency in New Brunswick on Thursday, June 13th. It was a delightful evening of dining and dancing. Students and faculty enjoyed this memorable student event. Thanks.
Thank you, Jed. And just before our superintendent starts the recognition of our retirees, I want to add to what Tim said. It's not just our retirees, but they are certainly prime examples of it. But our entire staff here at Watchung Hills, from the administration on down through the certificated staff to the aides and to the custodial and buildings and ground staff, they are tremendously dedicated to our children here. They are the people who really make Watchung Hills the great school that it is. And I see repeatedly the esprit de corps and the culture of our staff and their investment in our kids. You know, I can't tell you how many times in the years that I've been on this board, I come in contact with teachers who on their own time are talking to one another about their students and about how you have to try and get this student into your class because what he or she has done or can do in the future. It's really what makes our school great. And you know, I think we've got a culture. People are comfortable here. We don't lose a lot of people to other schools. And it's an honor to be a part of the organization that helps this staff be able to teach our students the way they do.
Thank you, Mr. Fallon. This is always a bittersweet time of year because I'm so happy for our retirees for going on to the next part of their life, and they're like Benjamin Button because they always look younger and more refreshed when I see them, when they come back to school events after they've retired. Not that they didn't enjoy their time here, but they all seem to fill their time in retirement with the things they love and the people that they love the most. So it's nice that they have worked so hard that they have the opportunity to do that. But it's certainly hard to fill those positions. And we do have 3 of our retirees with us this evening. And first I'm going to talk about Ms. Laura Dunn. We have resolutions for each of them. And Laura, if you could actually come down here. Yes, thank you. One of our Laura she's a consummate professional, and she is always in it for the students. That was when I first met her and got to know her when I first started here 6 years ago. She was, at all of the evening events for the incoming 8th graders, helping them get comfortable with the building, and she's. I don't think I've ever seen her without a student. And so I really appreciate her approach every day and her calm demeanor, which isn't always easy in high school with 2,200 students. And so I'm going to read the resolution that was prepared on her behalf. You'll learn a little bit more about Laura. This proclamation regarding Laura Dunn shall be read at the public meeting of the Watchung Hills Regional High School Board of Education on June 18, 2019. Laura Dunn was first employed by Watchung Hills Regional High School in 2005 after working at Main Valley High School. Whereas she utilized excellent skills in counseling, dealing with a very special population, and whereas she successfully fit more students in her conference room at lunch than most likely allowed, and whereas her warmth, genuine concern, and empathetic ear made her the go-to person for her students and parents, and whereas she always tries to find the silver lining, students would not be able to find a stronger advocate, and whereas she has remained a professional and true team player and leaves a legacy of support and care for all of us, always having her students at the core of her heart, and whereas we wish her many blue skies, lots of sunshine, and many memories as she starts a new chapter. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Watchung Hills Regional High School Board of Education extends its heartfelt gratitude for her years of devotion to our school, and upon retirement, wish Laura Dunn a most prosperous and healthy next stage of life. amount from Kathy in my time here. We have had various challenging issues to deal with at the school, some of them of a very sensitive nature, and I could always count on Kathy knowing how to address the situation, how to provide comfort where it was needed, and really, how to just keep everything calm and appropriate and provide the support to both the students and the staff. And actually, recently, I was out with my parents and ran into Kathy and her husband, and my mom's about the same size as Kathy, so I feel like a giant with them. But my mom, I think, embraced Kathy because I had talked so much about her and she heard so much about her that she felt like she knew her. And I really, she's been a tremendous role model for me, and she's been a tremendous asset to the school, and she's going to be missed by all of us. So let me read her resolution. This proclamation regarding Kathy Angelostro shall be read at the public meeting of the Watchung Hills Regional High School Board of Education on June 18, 2019. Whereas Kathy Angelostro was first employed by Watchung Hills Regional High School in July 2008, and whereas she has been noted for her ability to coordinate a vast array of responsibilities, from AP exams to evening parent programs to crisis management, and to do so with patience and composure. And whereas her expertise as a counselor, her humanity, and her remarkable supply of compassion have made her invaluable to our school. And whereas she is a highly respected educator who inspired the trust of students and parents, cultivated the support of the faculty and staff, and developed strong professional relationships with the counselors she supervised, all with the goal of ensuring the emotional wellness of the students and adults in our school community over the last 11 years. And whereas, after an outstanding career as a teacher, counselor, and director of guidance, who put people first and dedicated her life to helping others, she has decided to retire. And whereas she has been and will remain a model of empathy in our school. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Watchung Hills Regional High School Board of Education extends its gratitude to Kathy Angelostro for her dedicated service to the school and offers its best wishes for a happy and healthy retirement. I think we're done. Oh, I'm sorry. One more. Mr. McConnell. So, Kim, I don't know if anyone told you, I did promise Terry that I would share. He spoke at the faculty meeting last week, and he said some very, very lovely things about you. Talked about how you're the best thing to ever happen to him and how he's not sure how you happened to him, and we all agreed. But I did tell him that, he did ask the staff if they saw you to make sure, that they shared that with you, but he did say some very nice things beautiful things about you and your family, all well deserved. And I thank you because I know that part of the, why he was able to do such a good job here and be so effective was because of the sport and your influence at home. So I thank you for that. And I'm sorry, I tried to keep him for another year. I know you did not want him home for another year. So I'm sorry about that. I think I made Terry a little nervous when I first started here because when I was over, my office is over here and his office is way over there. And I was walking around the building one day and he comes out of his office and he goes, "You're really far away from your office," and was kind of very confused. But then he did get used to it, even though he did play a trick on me once by having a dummy in his chair in his office. So, yes. I know I'm not talking about you, Terry. It was an actual dummy. But Terry has done he has taken his role and transformed it into something that I don't think anyone or any other place could replicate. He was everything to everyone, and we always talk about IQ versus EQ, and he was the heart of the school, is the heart of the school, and to see him connect with students and help them, guide them, support their parents, with whether it was regard to an academic issue, an emotional issue, just a conflict among students. He was probably one of the most kind, caring, and compassionate human beings that I've encountered, both professionally and personally. And I know, I will miss him personally in the school, but I'm going to miss what he brought to the school every day. And it's going to take a lot of people to fill the hole that one person leaves. He really has been a tremendous asset to the school community, and I know that he's going to be missed by many. So let me read his proclamation. This proclamation regarding Terry McConnell shall be read at the public meeting of the Watchung Hills Regional High School Board of Education on June 18, 2019. Whereas Terry McConnell was first employed by Watchung Hills Regional High School in January 2002. And whereas he has been noted for his uncanny ability to be in 7 places at once, to predict school closings until this year, and to compile top 10 lists. And whereas his expertise as a vice principal, his EQ, and his remarkable generosity have made him invaluable to our school. And whereas he is a highly respected educator who made decisions in the best interests of students, supported the faculty and staff, and developed excellent relationships with families and community members, all in an effort to ensure positive experience for students over the last 18 years. And whereas, after an outstanding career as a teacher, coach, and vice principal who inspired students and colleagues with a passion for supporting others, he has decided to retire. And whereas, he has been and will remain a pillar of goodwill in our school. Now therefore be it resolved that the Watchung Hills Regional High School Board of Education extends its gratitude to Terry McConnell for his dedicated service to the school and offers its best wishes for a happy and healthy future.
Okay, now we're going to move on to student recognition, and I'm going to ask our principal here. Yes, Mr. Alexis, he'll come up and get us started.
Thank you, Mr. Fallon. I'm very pleased to be here to recognize and honor our students. I'm going to begin with a couple of science and academic awards. First off is the International Science and Engineering Fair Award, and I'm going to call forward Jagdeep Bhatia. Jagdeep represented WHRHS at the Intel International Science and Engineering Fair, the world's largest international pre-college science competition. He attended this week-long science fair as one of the 6 New Jersey Science Fair finalists. He presented his research project entitled Design and Analysis of Fast Algorithms for Interactive Machine Learning, for which he was awarded first place in the robotics category and received the Association for Computing Machinery Award along with a $4,000 stipend. I'm very proud of Jagdeep. Congratulations. Next, this year we had 6 finalists for the National Merit Scholarship competition. And for those of you who are not familiar with this, each year there's 1.6 million entrants into the competition. Students enter by taking the PSAT during junior year. And there are a couple of different categories during the competition. So we have commended students, we have semifinalists, and then we have finalists. They get it down to about 15,000 finalists, so it's fewer than 1% of the entrants that are recognized as finalists. And tonight we have present Ishika Agrawal and Joy Liu. Please come forward. Jed, will you accept this? Next is Mr. Bertelli.
Boys and Girls State. Boys and Girls State is a week-long summer program held in June at Rider University and Georgian Court University for high school juniors. The focus is on participation and experiences in which the students engage in developing a mock government system to develop a model state. Students develop leadership skills through running for office, hone their interest in government, and have a chance to be trained in practical citizenship and character development. The following students are selected for participation at Boys State: Brian Bartnick and Justin Rodriguez.
You did it?
The following students were selected for Boys States who were unable to attend the meeting as they are presently at Rider University: Matthew Allergen, Ian Chung, Chad Huang, Alte Kabuku, Ryan Lin, Koa Lorimer, Anish Amkar, Scott Romancow, Samson Schwartz, Patrick Steferick, and Justin Uber. Thank you very much. Okay. The following students were selected for the participation at Girls State: Roma Barde, Kaylee Bruner, Sarah Bruno, and Mia Hagel. Congratulations, girls. University of Delaware's Model UN United Nations Conference, ENMUN. From March 1st to March 3rd, 2019, the WHRHS Model UN participated in the University of Delaware's Model UN Conference. The conference included hundreds of student delegates from high schools across the United States who came together to simulate the actions of the United Nations. After 3 days of debate, numerous midnight crisis, and countless hours of research, 2 of our 20 delegates were recognized for their outstanding efforts in their individual committees. Honorable mention awards went to Vanish Hartquat and Enzo Ruta. New Jersey Bar Foundation's High School Mock Trial. The WHRHS Mock Trial Club competed in the Somerset County Bar Association's Mock Trial competition held in January at the Somerset County Courthouse in Somerville. We advanced to the semifinals. During the competition, Elizabeth Wood and Adithi Adeshamili were both named Best Witness in their trials. Chemistry Olympics. On May 17th, our students competed in the New Jersey Chemistry Olympics and NJIT. Several of our students earned recognition. They are Laura Bayens, first place in the demonstration show. Mary Ellis and Anushka Kumar, first place in information search. Wesley Tsang and Kathy Liang second place in the demonstration show. Manthan Naik and Mayor Sharma, second place chemistry research. Adva Kashunik, second place chemical engineering research. And Elizabeth Huang, third place information search. Fall 2018 Celebrating Art Yearbook and Spring 2019 Celebrating Art Anthology. Every year, Celebrating Art holds a nationwide fall and spring art contest for students from K to 12th grade. Winners have their artwork printed and published in these anthologies. Having artwork published in the high school level is a great accomplishment. The following students had their work accepted into the Spring 2019 Celebrating Art Anthology. Molly Davis, Youngzing Dang, Gretel Jelmer, Anna Kaplan, Annika Sedana, Jamie Spavin, Ai Chang Tang, Isabella Tartivita, Emily Thomas, and Brianna Titus. Congratulations. Congratulations, everybody. Please student who received a letter for recognition of a co-curricular activity who is here and your name was not called, please come up now. All right, congratulations to our winners. I would now like to introduce Mr. Van Root for the athletic awards.
Pride that on behalf of the Board of Education, I recognize the following student athletes and teams that have earned honors for the 2018-2019 winter season here at Watchung Hills. Start with boys basketball, our first student athlete, second team all-conference, and third team all-area, Chad Martini. Next we go to boys fencing. First student athlete was first team all conference for Epe, Philip Dean. Our next student athlete for boys fencing, Kevin Ella Marugan, first team all conference Epe. Next student athlete, first team all conference Sabre, also a part of the District 3 Sabre team champions, Kevin Zhu. Girls fencing, second team all conference foil, Isabel Bala. To ice hockey, first team all conference, Cole Hannon. move to winter track. First team all conference pole vault, second team all state pole vault, Bradley Gelmer. Next, we move to wrestling. At this point, when I call each wrestler up, I would ask that you stay up here, as there are some team honors as well. Our first student athlete, honorable mention, all area, Gerard Aranio. Our next student athlete, honorable mention, all area, Blake Bana. Our next student athlete, honorable mention, all area, Jordan Bell. Our next student athlete, first team all conference, second team all area, Nico Palello. Next, we have first team all conference, honorable mention, all area, John Duza. Next, we have first team all conference, second team all area, Frank Medina. And next, we have first team all conference, third team all area, Michael Salerno. And next, we have honorable mention, all area, Eddie Williams. So in addition to these individual accolades that these student athletes have garnered, the team itself had a tremendous year, so they were all part of the following team that were Skyland Conference champions, Somerset County champions, District 15 champions, and North 2 Group 5 sectional champions. Let's hear it for them. Congratulations, guys.
Dan, do you have Steve question? Mike? Question.
All right, for boys basketball, we also have first team all conference, first team all area, third team all state, group 4, Michael Bressler. If there are any student athletes who are present whose name were not called, please come up at this time so they present your certificate. Again, congratulations all.
We're going to take a couple-minute break in case you don't want to hang around for the rest of the meeting. Okay, we're going to go back into public session now.
And we're at the top of the hairpin turn.
The next thing under
It's like a candy cane.
board discussion. I just want to remind the board members to please complete their portion of the superintendent's evaluation so that we can collect the data, collate it, and then move on to our discussion
You skipped
of the,
Oh, okay, all right. So,
yes, I did,
Not right across the street, if there's the traffic.
because I don't see any
I know,
public, but I will I will suspend that board discussion and note that this is the first opportunity for public comment, which is limited to agenda items for this meeting only. The second public comment period will be open to any topic. Any members of the public wish to address us? Any members of the media wish to address us? Any student representatives wish to address us? I will now close the first opportunity for public comment, since there are no such people here. So again, please try to, within the next couple days, complete your portion of the superintendent's evaluation so that we can have the results collated and then schedule a time to discuss them. Second item, Gwen Thornton has gotten back to me with dates for the training that we had asked her to put together on the board's role in supporting and advancing student achievement, and the dates, and I will follow this up with an email to everyone tomorrow, but the dates that she's got availability are July 18th, July 30th and 31st, or August 6th. And we're thinking a 6:30 or 7 o'clock start time, depending on what people can, if 7 o'clock is better, we'll do it 7, otherwise we'll try and start at 6:30, and it would be no more than 2 hours and possibly less.
Just one note, Peter, I don't know if you realize, I think the 18th is our board meeting for July.
I think it's
So-
the 16th.
I don't,
16th.
oh, it's the
It's a
16th?
Thursday.
16.
Oh, then it's, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
I
thank you.
thought I was
Okay.
avoiding board
Got
meeting
it.
nights.
Oh, yes, the 18th is our legal training here. I'm confusing it with our legal training for the county. That's what it is. Thank you.
Okay. And finally, I'm finally moving forward and have contacted all the board presidents of the 4 sending districts, and we're trying to have a meeting on either July 11th or August 13th, depending on when we can get the most of them together to start discussions of issues of common interest to the 5 boards. Bob?
Just related to that, there's, in the preliminary budget that was presented by the state legislature, there's been $50 million set aside specifically to support the investigation of shared services and consolidation for school districts and municipalities. So to the degree that there was concern about the lack of funds being available, pending final approval of the budget, it looks like there may be some funds available.
Thank you, and I had noted that, but I will make sure to put it on the agenda for the first discussion that we can have with the other board presidents or vice presidents. Anyone else? Okay, next on our agenda is discussion of addendum items.
I feel good about the time.
Unless anybody wants to specifically bring it up now, we can discuss them when we get to voting on it. Hearing none, we now have action items.
Mr. President, I'd like to move items A1 through A7.
Second.
Is there any discussion of resolutions A1 through A7?
Here, so I abstain.
Can we have a roll call vote, Mr. Stiles?
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Hayek?
Yes.
Mr. Martins?
Yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
Mrs. Ober?
I abstain from A1 and A2, and I yes on everything else.
Dr. Shabilsky?
Yes.
And Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Mr. President, I'd like to move items A8 through A18.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Morrison and Ms. Barone. Any discussion of resolutions A8 through A18? We have a roll call vote, Mr. Stiles?
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Hayek?
Yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
Mrs. Ober?
Yes.
Dr. Shabilsky?
Yes.
And Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Mr. President, I'd like to move items C1 through C32.
Second.
Wait,
There a B one?
wasn't there a B?
Is there a B?
Yeah, there's a.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. President, I'd like to move, I rescind that.
I didn't hear it.
I take it back.
Tim didn't hear it, so you don't
Do
have.
over.
Yeah.
I'd like to move item B1.
Second.
Any discussion of resolution B1? Hearing none, can we have a roll call vote, Mr. Stiles?
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Hayek?
Yes.
Mr. Martins?
Yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
Mrs. Mrs. Ober,
Yes.
Dr. Shabilsky,
Yes.
and Mr. Fallon.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Mr. President, I'd like to move items C1 through C32.
Second.
Thank you both. Any discussion of resolutions C1 through C32?
Just on C6, the to be determined sections, like from affirmative action.
C6?
Oh, because the 504 officer is our director of guidance,
And the same thing with affirmative action.
and so,
Yes.
And
And
special.
not
Anti-bullying.
affirmative action, but anti-bullying specialist.
504 officer and affirmative, and anti-bullying.
It's just the two of
They're
them.
awaiting, two of them are okay, because the top one also, student, what is this one? Title IX coordinator?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, that's for Title IX. I don't know. Oh, because it's the affirmative action officer for students, I'm sorry. Yes, so those three are generally associated with the director of guidance,
Okay.
and we're looking to fill that position, so.
Okay.
No further discussion? Could we have a roll call vote, Mr. Stiles?
Ms. Barone,
Yes.
Mr. Hayek,
Yes.
Mr. Martins,
Yes.
Mr. Morrison,
Yes.
Mrs. Ober,
Yes.
Dr. Shabilsky,
Yes.
and Mr. Fallon.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Mr. President, I'd like to move items D1 through D30.
Second.
Thank you both. Any discussion of,
I think you can do 33 and 30. Can you do 33 and 34 with those two if you want?
okay.
Yep.
33 and 34.
D1 through D30 and 33, 34. 32 through 34, I'm sorry.
No, not
Thir-
33 and 34.
33.
33 and
We
34.
tried to
Second.
make it as confusing as possible for you.
Thank you.
Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Thank you. Now, see if I can mangle it. Any discussion on resolutions D1 through D30, D32, and D33?
33 and 34.
33, 34.
I knew I could.
Nice call.
You got all that, Tim?
We got it.
Hearing none, could we have a roll call vote, Mr. Stiles? And now it's your turn.
Ms. Barone,
Yes.
Mr. Hayek,
Yes.
Mr. Martins,
Yes.
Mr. Morrison,
Yes.
Mrs. Ober,
Yes.
Dr. Shabilsky,
Yes.
and Mr. Fallon.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Mr. President, I'd like to move items D31 and D32.
Second.
Thank you both. Is there any discussion of resolutions D31 and D32? Could we have a roll call vote, Mr. Stiles?
Ms. Barone,
Yes.
Mr. Hayek,
Yes.
Mr. Morrison,
Yes.
Mrs. Ober,
Yes.
Dr. Shabilsky,
Yes.
and Mr. Fallon.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
And now I think it's only appropriate that I open up the third opportunity for public comment. But I will open up the second opportunity for public comment on any item. Since we only have members of the media and our student representative here, and none of them want to address us, I'm now going to close the second opportunity for public comment. Members, other business? Mr. Morrison?
Now that we are wherever we are related to the negotiations,
Yes.
have we started any conversations around the next strategic planning process?
That's right, we discussed doing that after we were done with negotiations, right? So-
We actually, when Peter and I were talking about the professional development with the school board's rep, one of the things we talked about was, because the board had brought up at the retreat wanting the focus to be on the board's role in advancing our student learning goals and student achievement and everything related to student learning. And so we thought that would actually be a good time to start the conversation about strategic planning and the board's role with strategic planning, since that's this summer. And most likely we'll be setting up, for the fall to be talking about the next strategic plan. So that was our thought around that. And perhaps we could have a lengthier discussion at the retreat.
So, I mean, is there any timeline in place, or is that yet to be determined
A timeline for
the process?
We haven't, so the topic of our leadership retreat for the district that's in August is also our next strategic plan, so that we can start talking about year 5 of this current strategic plan and how we want to move into the next one. So that was really, the plan was really to finalize or to start talking about that this summer and have a plan to share with the board in terms of what a tentative timeline would look like.
Yeah, so, and I guess following up on that you know, I think it'd be helpful for all of us if, you know, maybe 2 weeks before the retreat or so, we get some sort of general idea of what the administration is thinking of in terms
Absolutely.
of a timeline, so that we're ready to discuss it. How does that sound, Bob?
So do we have a retreat date, or is the retreat when we're doing the professional development? That's what I'm trying to.
Me too.
Oh, I guess, I'm sorry, I'm calling it a retreat, you're right, I'm interchanging the two. I was thinking of it as that because we were talking about having the strategic plan and the board's role in that perhaps be a focus of that since it's timely. So I'm sorry, I'm using the wrong term. I'm referring to the professional development.
Yeah, so what, in other words, to try and clarify, the date that we pick, whether it's the July date, one of the 3 July dates or the August date, by then, I'm asking the administration to have a general outline of a timeline for this so that we can also discuss it that night.
And then would we also be having a consultant that would assist?
These are basically all the things on the list that I want to look into in terms of, I guess, what my recommendation would be to the board, but also what the board's feeling is about that. That's something that we need to have a discussion about, and whether the board wants to do that as a whole or wants to have a strategic planning committee to start talking about that. But I think that's certainly a board decision.
Well, and the only reason why I bring it up is I would, you know, if there's some sort of time frame that
Yes.
you have in your head that you would like to, you know, see all of this roll out, and if part of your thinking is that you would like to have a consultant facilitate like we did the last time, it did take a little bit of time
Yes.
for us to get to the point where we approved a consultant, and I would hate to, you know, spend the first part of the year dealing with trying to get a consultant before we actually start. So I'm just raising that as a, you know, as a
Certainly.
planning point.
So when we do the professional development, is that a public meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
And then related to that would be, we also said that we were going to wait until this process was over to talk about the developing the school climate and culture survey. So I'd like to make sure that that gets back on the front burner.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any other business?
Mr. President, I got one thing for the board. Just as we head into July, we do have a referendum coming up, if you remember.
We do.
So we're going to start in July talking about planning. We're already kind of talking about behind the scenes the financing part, but just the planning, how we're going to present it to the folks, to the towns, other folks, what we're going to present. All those things we're going to have to start working on.
So are you gonna bring that through any committee?
It's-
Operations?
I'm gonna have to call on my overworked and underpaid operations committee. So early in July sometime, we'll try to get together.
Okay. And then operations committee will talk about that, and then it'll come for discussion through those committee minutes. Because we're not approving anything anymore at this point, right?
You're gonna have to approve a resolution for the question, for
Okay.
sure. And you're gonna have to probably approve some consultants and whatnot. Although I think we already have.
Yeah, I thought we.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably-
I thought
we
we
wanted to
approved
talk
that. Wasn't that
specifically
the-
operations
isn't that what
committee and the
the
board
architect
about,
does?
Yeah.
because it is a little different than our last referendum. The last referendum, we were doing regardless of whether we got the funding or not from the debt service aid because we had to.
Right.
This one, we haven't actually, I don't think we've decided that as a board, if,
I mean, the media said.
you know, in terms of the electrical panel,
Yes.
I'm assuming correctly,
Mhm.
that we're going forward with.
Sounds like.
But the media center, we want to get a better idea from the board if the referendum isn't successful, are we doing a scaled down version of it? Are we not doing it at all? So that way, when we go to speak to the town councils and to the media and talk about it publicly, we make sure that we're sharing the accurate message. So
So again, it's something operations committee will discuss.
that's what our intention was to bring it to operations so then they can, and then, they can share with the rest of the board what the recommendation should be.
Well, we should meet soon then, because if the board meeting's July 16th, then we'd want to have
Yeah, that's what I was
operations
saying
committee.
early
And we
July.
actually are looking to plan a field trip. I'll let you know when we finalize the date, but to a couple of learning commons spaces in some other districts, so I'll let the board members know. We're probably going to do several, but we're trying to look at a couple over the summer, so I'll let everyone know in case you're interested in joining us, if you're able to. I know some of you actually have day jobs that you're required to be at, so, but we'll let you know.
But what struck me from the presentation we had last time was clearly some of the work that the students were doing would benefit from a learning center,
Mhm.
or whatever you want to call them. So,
Absolutely.
And I will just finally remind everyone, if you're going to be able to attend graduation and you haven't let Dina know, please let her know so she can get you on the list.
since it's in 2 days.
Yes, on
Yes.
Friday. Anybody want to make a motion?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.